Hello everyone. I welcome you in this presentation of fundamental duties. In broader view, we can say we are discussing about constitution, and as part of that, we are dealing with one of the point of the syllabus, and we can say last chapter of the syllabus, and that is fundamental duties. So we have seen in previous presentation that why it is important and what are the peculiarities and features of fundamental duties mentioned in Indian Constitution. So let's begin and let's see what exactly is mentioned or which are the 11 core fundamental duties of Indian citizens which are mentioned in the Constitution. So let's begin and we will discuss one by one. As you can see at the very beginning, first fundamental duty to abide by the Constitution and respect its ideals and institutions. Let me explain this first. What it simply means that Constitution is there in India and you have to follow that Constitution. You have to implement or you have to abide by that Constitution. Okay. And you have to respect its ideals and institution. Whatever laws are mentioned, okay, you have to respect them. Not only that, you have to respect national flag. We have to respect national anthem. Okay. So whenever you see national flag, we have to take care that it will not be, we can say, thrown away anywhere, and it will be kept in safer side, or we can say safer place. Along with that, you have to respect national anthem also. So whenever national anthem is going on, we are supposed to stand at one place and respect the anthem. So that is expected in fundamental duties. Why one may ask that why these duties are required? As I told you that to have the feeling of nationalism, we have to have these feelings as well. We have to respect our constitution, we have to respect our flag, national flag, and then anthem. Okay, so that the feeling of nationalism can be imbibed inside. Of course, it cannot be done forcefully. One has to do it voluntarily. Okay, so whenever one person may think that okay, or whenever we can say that this is the feeling which should come from inside. You cannot impose on someone or you cannot force to someone. These are the feelings which are supposed to be felt. They are supposed to be realized, and slowly and steadily it comes in everyone. Okay. Second one is to cherish and follow the noble ideals which inspired our national struggle for freedom. It simply means that whatever we can say we have done so far to achieve freedom. We all know that before 1947 there was British government in India and no, you can say, independent or domestic government. It was only British government. So at that time we fought, means our freedom fighters, they fought with British to achieve democracy in India and to achieve self-rule in India. And whatever attempts they have done to realize or to achieve self-rule or independence in India, we have to respect them. Okay, whatever noble ideals are there, we have to respect them and we should cherish them. Okay, that is something which is important for all of us. The next one is to uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity, and integrity of India. It simply means that we all know, Indian citizens are sovereign. In India, we have democracy. Therefore, Indian citizens are sovereign. Since Parliament is people's representative, therefore Parliament is also sovereign. Okay, and therefore we have to ensure that this sovereignty will be maintained. Okay, this sovereignty will be maintained, and we have to strive for it. We have to try for it. Okay. And then you have unity and integrity. We should always try to maintain the unity of all Indians. We have to keep all these things like, religion, caste, gender, race, creed, everything we have to keep at one side, and we all have to work together. Okay, taking all we can say kinds of people, all citizens, all are Indians, and therefore we should take each and every section of the society together, and we should try to maintain that unity. Okay, we have to maintain that integrity of India. All right. So I hope you understood that. The next one is to defend the country and render service, national service, when called upon to do so. So it simply means that whenever the country is in crisis, okay, whenever the nation is in crisis, at that time we are supposed to go for the help. We are supposed to render the service. Okay, like for example, in this present scenario, this pandemic is going on in India, not only India, entire world. Okay, so in this, we can say, critical situation, we all are supposed to come forward and help each other to resolve this problem, because helping each other will help the entire country. If everyone just started thinking about themselves, so what will happen? This problem will get more and more problematic. And if you want to solve the problem, then you will have to come together and you will have to help each other, so that the national service will be delivered and everyone will uh, come over on this pandemic. Not only this pandemic, whenever there is, we can say, crisis in the country, like for example, war like situation. If there is war with another country, so in that situation also, people are supposed to come forward to serve the nation. So that is expected in this point from every Indian citizen, that they should come forward and extend their national service. Next point is also almost about that only. It also says that the common brotherhood should be maintained. Okay, brotherhood should be there. Each and every section of the society is part of this country. Everyone is citizen of this country. All are Indian, right? And since all are Indian, therefore there should be brotherhood, right? There should be brotherhood amongst all the people, and we have to try very hard to maintain this brotherhood, to maintain this unity, because many times there will be attempts to divide these all, we can say, communities, these all, we can say, castes, right? Even division is there on the basis of gender, male and female, black and white, many more things are there. But we have to understand that we should not give much importance to these things. Keep all these things at one side and rise as one nation. We have to rise as one nation, and therefore this common brotherhood and unity should be there amongst all the citizens in India. Next one talks about to value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. We all know that heritage is there. We have many, we can say, historical places. We have global places also, right? Which has, we can say, global importance, right? Not only national but global importance as well. So we have to maintain that heritage. We have to continue. We have to protect them. We have to preserve them, so that this rich heritage will be maintained and the respect of nation will be there across the globe. Okay. So therefore, maintaining and preserving rich heritage of our country is important. And after that, we have to protect and improve the natural environment, including forests, lakes, rivers, wildlife, and to have compassion for living creatures. It simply means that we have to protect our environment. We have to protect our nature. Whatever, we can say, natural resources we have got by the nature, we have to respect them. we have to care for them, and then only you can survive peacefully. If you just cut down all the trees, if you exploit all the natural resources, then what will remain in future? The answer is simply nothing, right? Nothing will remain in future. So therefore, if you want the peaceful and healthy life today and tomorrow, then you will have to respect your natural environment. Okay, like we have forests, we have to increase the level of forest. Lakes are there, we have to care for them, we have to preserve them. We have rivers, we have to maintain those rivers. As you can see that the level of, or we can say the water level of all the rivers are getting very low. And this is the reason due to which we have to care for these rivers also, and make plans for all these rivers, so that the 24/7 water will be there in all these rivers. And of course, we should have compassion for living creatures, like for example animals. We have to have love for them also, because ultimately it is human being who are going to care for them. So we have to ensure that the humans will not cause any damage to these, you can say, animals as well. So the next point is to develop scientific temper. Most important point. It means what? One should not, simply believe in blind faith. We should not, have blind faith. Simply, you should go for scientific temper. You should have that, whenever you hear something or whenever you see something, you should have a scientific inquiry into that. You should have, you should apply logic behind that. Whenever you see something, whenever you hear something, you should think of logic, and you should not go blind faith. You should not think of blind faith. Just go scientifically, think whether it is correct or not, and then only you decide whether it is scientific or not. So therefore we need to have scientific temper. It also means that we should have the capacity to listen others as well. Okay, because many times what happened, that everyone tried to prove their point as correct. Everyone is trying to prove themselves correct, but we have to understand that we have to hear others as well. We have to listen what others are saying peacefully. First listen them, and then you express your thoughts. Okay, so this is also included in scientific temper. We have to respect others when we are dealing or talking with each other. Okay, it means what? We are responding to others, we are listening to them carefully, and then only we are responding in appropriate manner. Then we should have humanism. We all know about humanity. We talk of humanity, and of course we should have that. And this is what expected by the constitution through fundamental duty. The next one is to safeguard public property and to absorb violence. Okay, it's simply, again, you all know that whatever public property is there, like government offices are there, or transportation is there, like government buses are there, railway is there. Okay, many more things are there which belongs to public. Even road, you can say expressway, or we can say even local highway or normal simple road. So these all things are there which we have to protect. We have to ensure that we will not cause any damage to public property, to government property. Ultimately, when we damage something, we have to understand that we are not damaging to government, but we are damaging to our own self. Okay, because ultimately, if you damage something, for example, if you burn entire bus or railway, okay, so of course there will be loss of government, but ultimately when government is going to buy the new railway, where the money will come from public revenue, right? Public is going to fund the public is going to give money to the government through taxes. We pay tax, then only government get the money, and then only they can buy the new things for public. So that is what is expected over here, that we should respect and we should safeguard the public property, and to absorb the violence. We should not adopt violence. One can simply say that we have to understand that this violence is not the major, we can say, one of the dangerous things for the social harmony, and violence is not the solution for any of the problem of society. So in short, we can say that violence doesn't have any place and it should not have any place in the society. Every problem can be solved with peaceful mind. Okay, every problems can be solved with the dialogue, and this is how all the problems have been solved so far. Okay, so violence is not expected, and when we do violence, of course, it is going to damage in return to us only, and therefore we have to keep the violence out of the box, and we should have dialogue instead. Okay, so that is the point which was important. Then next one is to strive towards excellence. It is one of the, you can say, best fundamental duties which is mentioned in Constitution. Why I'm saying? Because it is saying that every citizen should try to develop himself or herself. What it simply means that when you are developing yourself, then only nation will be developed. The national skills will be developed, the quality of national talent will be developed. So therefore it says that you should always try to develop your skills, you should increase your knowledge, you should have excellence in all the fields, so that you can say higher levels and higher achievements will be there. And when you are achieving something, it means nation is achieving something. Okay, remember this thing, because ultimately nation is not something buildings or rivers or dams or geography. That is not nation. Nation means people. People are forming or making the nation. Ultimately, people are the living nation, and when people strive towards excellence, automatically the nation also develops in you can say future. So therefore, it is expected by the Constitution that each and every person should try their or should do their level best to develop themselves. Okay, whether it is he or she, we should always try to develop ourselves so that the nation will develop. Okay, so we have to understand that this talent and can say many other skills and knowledge is supposed to be grasped by the people, so that the nation will develop in real sense. And the last one, and the one which was added at the last in the list of fundamental duties, right? As I told you that originally there were only 10 fundamental duties, but later on one more fundamental duty was added in 2002, and that is about education of children's. Now it is you can say one of the duty of every parent. It is the duty of every parent to send their children to the school. Which children's? Those children who belongs to the age group of 6 to 14. Okay, you have to understand that those children who fall under the age group of 6 to 14, their parents should send their children to the school, and government will ensure that every children will get education. And if any, you can say, student is poor, of course we have government schools. For them also government is providing free education. It doesn't mean that only poor should go to government schools. Even rich can also go. The only thing is that when the quality of government schools will increase, even we can say children of ministers and officers will also go to schools. So this was all about fundamental duties. I hope you understood all these important points. At the end, I thank you all of you for peacefully listening, and here we conclude the session. Thank you.